heart of every man craves a great adventure, but life doesn't usually feel that way. Jesus speaks of narrow gates and wide roads, but the masculine journey is filled with many twists and turns. So how do we keep from losing heart while trying to find the good way when life feels more like a losing battle than something worth dying for? Grab your gear and come on a quest with your band of brothers who will serve as the guides in what we call the masculine journey. The masculine journey starts here now.
Welcome to Masculine Journey. We are very glad to have you with us today. We have a very special day. We have a friend of the show, but it feels like a guest. We're so happy to hear from him. Dennis, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Yeah, we are awesome to have you back on the show. It's been a little while since we've had a chance to talk to you on here, and we'll kind of catch up with what's been going on in your life. But today's topic, we're going to continue with the series that we've talked a little bit about, the Devil's Toolbox. You know, what's the things that he kind of takes out of there to, you know, either beat us up, to drive us away from God, you know, his plan to seek, kill, and destroy, steal, kill, and destroy. I knew it was in there somewhere. Steal, kill, and destroy. What are those tools he uses? And this week we're going to talk about blaming God. Now, primarily we're going to talk about the opportunities to blame God with health issues, whether that's ours or somebody else's. Dennis, would you do us a great favor and talk a little bit about this first clip?
Yeah, this from the movie Stripes back in 1980, and the thing I thought about this is it kind of sets up the head there, Sergeant Holka, is bringing the guys through boot camp, and you know, guys, we often talk about airstrikes. This is a different kind of airstrike. In this case, it comes from John. It comes from John Larroquette and that guy from 30-something. That was on in the 80s, but so it kind of takes him out. He experiences a strike, and we'll talk about what happens on the other side of that.
We got women can climb that thing better than you. Get up! Get on your feet! Hit it!
You said he couldn't make it. Why don't you do it?
Take one step back, Winger. Move it.
All right, soldier. Let's see how you fire that mortar.
What coordinates, sir?
Coordinates?
Yes, sir. They determine where the mortars...
Soldier, the Army has spent a lot of money teaching you how to fire that thing. Now set it, then fire it.
Sir, we don't know where the shells are going to go.
Soldier, the only way to learn anything is to do it. Now fire the weapon.
All right. Any of us want to come up here and knock me off? Oh, incoming!
Oh, wow. Sergeant, does this mean we're through for the day?
Save
your strength, Sergeant.
Come on, Sergeant.
Yeah, Dennis, tell how that plays into this topic tonight or today.
So the tower goes tumbling down, and Sergeant Holka goes with it. But the cool thing about this is that this ragtag band of brothers are forced to come together and finish boot camp on their own, which they do. And when the guy, the general, I guess, is asking them about it afterwards, you remember that line where he said, "Am I to understand you finished this on your own?" And they said, "That's the fact, Jack." A powerful story about coming together and healing.
Hey, Dennis, can you catch up the audience a little bit about what's been going on in your life over the last few weeks?
Well, first of all, I'm talking a little slower intentionally. About 2.5 weeks ago, I had a stroke, and totally unexpected. The enemy tried to take me out, and I'm just finishing rehab in Winston-Salem, and getting ready to go spend some time with my daughter and her family. And then we'll be coming back to work at WBFJ shortly after that.
So, Dennis, you had some opportunities in this to blame God. Did you ever feel the enemy kind of pulling you towards that?
Oh, yeah. It's one of those first things. And I can remember going to the floor the first time, and I was like, God, why? We have that reaction, don't we? We don't have that reaction all the time of, enemy, why? Why did you do this? And I think that's what I thought at first. And then I was talking to some guys a couple of days later, and I was saying, maybe God gave this to me because he saw that things were going to get worse. And they said, well, no, not really. We got all this with the fall. Christ died on the cross for our healing, and we're believing that you're going to be healed. And they really impressed upon me, and I believed it with all my heart, that God had nothing to do with this. A lot of good things have been happening, and Satan wanted to take me out. But fortunately, he failed.
Yeah, he did. And we're very grateful for that. It was great to see you and see how well you're doing.
Yeah. Imagine how I feel.
I imagine you do. Andy, could you set up the clip from Soul Surfer? It kind of ties into kind of what we're talking about here.
I'm going to pass.
Well, thank you.
That was Dennis's clip, even though I rememred a little bit.
Oh, then I guess Dennis can set it up. Dennis, could you set up Soul Surfer?
He's welcome to set it up.
I'll let you set up the next one.
Well, Andy. Andy's going to have part 2, I think.
He's got the Channel
Surfer.
That's okay.
Yeah. Soul Surfer is based on a true story about teenager Bethany Hamilton, who was a surfer, quite accomplished surfer, and a shark attacked her, and she lost her arm because of it. And after the shark attack comes, which, think about that while we listen to the clip, her father tries to step in afterwards and do what dads do, which is to get her back to where she was. She starts asking the questions, what now? Why did this happen? Why did God let this happen? And then we see the next chapter.
You can't give up on her.
And you can't keep pushing at her.
Well, what are you supposed to do? Just let her quit?
If she wants to, yes.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Then you're not hearing what I'm saying.
What? What is it that I'm not hearing?
You can't always fix everything by sheer will. Sometimes there is no easy
Bethany Hamilton has to be considered the favorite as we head to the Hawaiian Island Regionals.
She's a surfer. She's a competitor.
She's more than that.
Sherry, if she walks away from this, if she quits, she may never get back in the water again, and she will never be the same.
She will never be the same. And if she thinks the only life out there for her is surfing, and she can't make that happen, then she's going to be lost. Really, really lost.
Go ahead. Tell me how everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, that's me. Mr. Jump right in and fix it. I could just keep my mouth shut. For once.
Done, aren't I? I can't even paddle out to the lineup past the big waves. I don't understand. What happened to I can do all things? Why did I have to lose everything?
You didn't lose everything, Bethany. Not even close. That shark didn't kill you. You're still here. You're still alive. You have a family that loves you.
What am I supposed to do now?
I don't know.
And how am I supposed to know?
When the time is right, you'll know. Until then, you listen.
Listen for what?
For what comes next.
Dennis, as a fellow broadcaster, and of course, having seen you a little while after you had the stroke, you lost your ability to speak, and you're still struggling to some extent. We can hear just a little bit, but actually you're doing great. But can you speak to that particular attack on you personally? Because you can imagine the girl in Soul Surfer, obviously she needed her arm in order to surf, but to lose your voice when you're in broadcasting?
Yeah. I think that, gosh, what a connection. And the shark attack came, brother. And that's the first thing that I asked that morning. I said, Lord, my voice. And when I heard myself talk, which wasn't much talking, I was like, oh, dear Lord, this is all I know to do. So I was thinking he was taking away the best part of me. But what he's done instead, Robbie, you think that, and as you say, we see improvement every day, which I give God all the glory for that. But what I'm learning from that is that there was a much bigger picture with this, and you and I talked about this a couple of days ago. Now, I believe that God's going to let me get back on the radio, but even if he didn't, or it was in a different way, and it's not the way I would necessarily ask for this to happen, I am so grateful to Jesus because he loves me so much that he brought me into his story. He made it not about me. At first it was all about me. It's like, how am I going to talk? How am I going to go back on the radio? And then God spoke to me and said, that's not at all what I want you for, what I want you to do with this. Whether you can speak 100% again or not, you can share my story. You can be you're part of my story. I died on the cross for you, and now you're a part of this. And boy, what a tremendous feeling. It kind of makes broadcasting sort of minor, Robbie.
Yeah, I get it.
Dennis, in the story, we're getting ready to go to break, but in that story of Soul Surfer, God invited her into the larger story that was greater than surfing, didn't he?
Absolutely. He gave her...
We're going to have to cover it when we come back, Dennis. I set you up there, and we're going to have to cover that part when we come back, and we'll hear what happens in Soul Surfer. But we have 6 months. I think that's right. 6 months.
That's right.
Until boot camp. Robbie, when's our boot camp?
November 1st through the 4th.
That's what I thought. So we have less than 6 months. Go register now.
We promise not to shoot you off of any towers.
That's right. MasculineJourneyRadio.org. Hi, this is Sam with Masculine Journey. I'm here with my son Eli. We're going to talk about ways that you can help support the ministry. One way, you can go to smile.amazon.com. There's information on our website there on how to do that.
Then you can go to facebook.com where you can click the donate button, or you can go to masculinejourneyradio.org. Once again, look for the donate button.
Or if you want to mail something in, mail it to P.O. Box 550, Kernersville, North Carolina, 27285.
I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse.
It's a Masculine Journey Boot Camp BOGO. Buy one, give one free. $199.
What an amazing thing that would be to give somebody a gift, and what they really end up getting is their heart back.
Listen to what it did for Andy.
The Masculine Journey Boot Camp experience showed me I could truly hear from God, and then I could experience Him on a daily basis.
Coming this fall, November 1st through the 4th, go to masculinejourneyradio.org and register today.
I be stroking. That's what I be doing. I be stroking. I stroke it to the east and I stroke it to the west.
Dennis, that was totally your call, so you gotta speak to that.
2.5 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, at about this time, I was like, oh God, I'll be stroking. I'll be stroking out. But we can laugh now. At the time, it wasn't all that funny.
No, it wasn't.
But what I was going to say real quickly about Soul Surfer is that God provided her a worldwide forum to share her testimony and to help others, and she surfed again. So many good things have come out of that.
Yeah, and she went into this much larger story of ministry in her life that she never probably would have had. which is pretty cool. And so, God can take those things that happens to us and just magnify them for the good, which we've seen over and over again. And Andy, you get to set up a clip. I have one I need you to set up.
Okay. All right. I did submit this one, so I'm on deck. So this one's about, I think it's Bruce Almighty. He's not really suffering from really bad injuries or whatever, but he's having a pity party with God. So this is pretty much it.
Well, thank God you're all right.
God, yeah, let's thank God, shall we? For his blessings are raining down upon me. Wait, that's not rain!
Bruce, please don't do that, honey. You know that everything happens for a reason.
That I don't need. That is a cliche. That is not helpful to me. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I have no bird. I have no bush. God has taken my bird and my bush.
Oh, I see. So God is picking on you? Is that what you're saying?
No, he's ignoring me completely. He's far too busy giving Evan everything he wants. Oh, that's great, Sam. But you missed your target. I'm over here.
Don't get mad at the dog. It's not the dog's fault.
No, it's God's fault. He gave him the wrong coordinates.
All right, you know what? Enough. All right, will you just stop being such a martyr?
I am not being a martyr. I'm a victim. God is a mean kid sitting on an anthill with a magnifying glass, and I'm the ant. He could fix my life in 5 minutes if he wanted to, but he'd rather burn off my feelers and watch me squirm.
All right, sweetheart, I know that you're mad. It's completely understandable. What Evan did is slimy and wrong. But this day could have been so much worse. I'm just glad you're okay.
Okay? Newsflash! I'm not okay. I'm not okay with a mediocre job. I'm not okay with a mediocre apartment. I'm not okay with a mediocre life!
It ends not so funny, but it's funny when it starts because, we talk about, and we've used this clip a few times in the show, but it really shows the power of the enemy to want to blame God, right? That no matter what it is, Bruce had lost his job in this movie clip, and, this is what kind of manifests, but it can be health, it can be lots of different things. It could be the death of a loved one. There's just so many things that the enemy wants to take and twist and turn out of that toolbox and have us blame God for it or to overly blame ourselves. Vinny, I wanted to ask you a little bit about, you've had some opportunities with some situations you went through with your eyesight and different things to blame God.
Yeah, I constantly was blaming God, why me? I thought it was just a thing that was going to happen because that's what eye doctor told me when I was in my 20s, that I'd be blind by 40. Well, everybody here knows that I'm in my 80s, 84 to be exact, and here I am. I lost my eyesight 1 year ago. And I was constantly blaming God, but it's not his fault. Look at the blessing he gave me to reach 84 before I went blind, and the blessing of knowing all these guys over here, how they are my children. And they all believe in the same thing, the power of God. Well, now I do too. And before I forget, Dennis, welcome home. I love you, buddy. You're doing great. And I just love you. And
thanks, Vinny. I love you too, buddy.
Very much. You've taught me a lot. You really have.
As you have me.
Thank you. And getting back to this blind thing, I finally realized that it wasn't God's fault. He wasn't absent. He was there all the time. It was me, self-pity. Self-pity doesn't help you. And I've been fathered, but I can't see, but I think there's 4 or 5 of them over here. And I couldn't have a better family than what we have right here amongst us. Dennis, Sam, Robbie, Andy, I know. There's somebody over there. I can't see who it is, but
Harold.
They all love me. They are fathering me. There's nothing wrong with that. I have a good life. I'm here. I'm here to share my love and whatever else I can offer to my friends.
Thank you, Vinny. That was amazing. I appreciate it. Andy, I'd like for you to set up this last clip because, Vinny touches on something. It's not age where God uses other people to father. Sometimes it even can be a son to a father. Can you set this clip up?
Sure. I think the little boy's name's Colton, but anyway, he gets a disease, and I think they have to take him in a life-saving operation, and it's just really kind of the dream and experience he has in it, and what it's really poignant. Just take notice to what the dad's activity was in it, and just we'll talk about it on the other side.
I've been here.
Here? I don't think we've been here before, pal.
Guess what?
But
I like spiders.
I saw that! You got a sticker, you're not afraid anymore.
We don't ever have to be scared.
Is that why you wanted to come back? Show me you weren't afraid?
It's important.
What about the hospital? How do you feel about that? Does that scare you?
No, that's where the angels sang to me.
The angels sang to you?
Yes.
When?
During the operation, when Mom was in one room talking on the phone, and you were in another room yelling at God.
How'd you know that?
Because I saw you.
When did you see me?
I lifted up and I looked down and saw the doctor working on me. And I saw you and Mommy.
So I think I neglected to say the name of the movie. You probably heard of the book and the movie. It's Heaven is Real, but really just to see the dad there. I mean, it's so easy for us to go to that place of blame. And God, you have the power. Why did you not do it? I mean, you look through the Bible, and how many servants could have said that all through the Bible? And we seem to think that we're immune from pain or suffering whenever we're serving God. But it's cool how He brings the goodness back in this story, and really it's probably a teaching moment for the father. So will he be quick to blame God on the next time go around? Probably not. So
thanks, Andy. When we were thinking about this topic, I was doing what I normally do, and I drive around, and I'm thinking about the topic, and really didn't think that I had much to share on this one particularly. I was just kind of set back a little bit, and as I was thinking about it, God brought to my memory when I lost my father-in-law a couple of years ago, and how angry I got at the time. He'd gotten sick pretty quickly and passed away, and I couldn't really figure out what that was about. And I'm like, God, that's not really on topic. We're talking about health, not death, and I guess it's ultimately the end of health. But he reminded me of some years before when I'd lost my stepdad. And again, very angry about that. And so as I continued to process it and talk with him, he took me back to some memories of when my dad had a stroke. He had a stroke when I was 12, and I remember being very angry as a young boy and being mad at God for taking my dad away. Now, back through the rest of that story, the anger each time was because there was finally a man that was coming into my life that was going to be there to father me. My dad was taken essentially from me when he was 12. He never was able to really do all the stuff you're doing, Dennis, right now. He could never get back to where he could talk or anything like that. And so he was physically in my life for 9 years, but not really able to participate in my life. And so I spent a lot of that time feeling very abandoned, and really abandoned by God, because my dad was physically there. And so I moved to California, come back, and I now have a stepdad. I'm 30 years old and I have a stepdad, and he's just the most awesome guy. And, he helps me on a couple things around the house, and I'm excited because I have this older man I can look up to. And then my mom and him about a year later say, well, we're going to move to Florida. And again, the anger. I wasn't angry that they were moving. I was going to miss them. I was just angry because I didn't even have the words for it. And then fast forward to Dallas when he passed away. he and Margaret had moved down to North Carolina from Indiana about 6 months before, and they literally moved in 2 blocks down the street from me. And I was really excited about the opportunity to have, coffee with him, to talk, just to pick his brain and just have that older guy around me. And then boom, he was gone. And so God helped me to see through this topic. And I thank you guys for bringing this topic up, that, he was trying to help me break that agreement that had been there for 40 years. 40 years before I'd laid the groundwork for it. And I think it probably had a lot to do with me struggling to let God father me, because that anger, that vow, those things like that kind of get in the way. And so, even this topic, even though it doesn't feel like it was a direct correlation, God's letting me know there's still a lot more work I need to do there in this topic for you.
Yeah.
Well, Dennis, we have about 30 seconds. Is there anything else on this topic you'd like to talk about?
Well, I know that it may not sound as easy for those of you who have had a situation like mine, and maybe you're struggling even more with it, but believe that God can heal, believe that there is hope, and believe that you don't have to go through any of this alone, and just hang in there.
Thanks, Dennis. Go to masculinejourneyradio.org to listen to past podcasts, to register for the upcoming boot camp. Andy, do you know when the upcoming boot camp is?
November 1 through 3?
4th. November 1st through 4th. I'm trying to quiz you guys. masculinejourneyradio.org.